places, things exist. And the lines that form the network of your mind. Behind the retinas of imagination are the particles and peripherals that made you who you are. Turn off, shut your eyes, and listen to dispatches from outside the box.
All right. Rampant in modern mainstream cinema is a desire to score the big bucks. Hollywood has become the product to invest in as imagination withers on the vine. The bottom line is where it's at, and the reason we reboot of a reboot is because it's easier to invest in a pony that's going to bring people to the races, whether it wins first place or not. But there is hope, perhaps our only hope. There are people who, above all hope, invest their time and limited budgets to bring us fantastic stories of UFOs, toxic superheroes, Sharknadoes, and of course, avenging angels. I'm talking about B movies, low-budget gems that have us glued to screens, big and small. Independent creations from creators who pour their hearts into these dream projects, hoping we'll enjoy them, and just maybe they too can get some of those big bucks. From video-on-demand days to popular sci-fi network movies, these properties are starting to generate more interest and fanfare than your typical Hollywood popcorn movie. I'm independent artist and match scribbler C Michael Lanning, here with other panelists to discuss this and more as we dive into the geek beyond and uncover this delightful and sometimes gory phenomenon. Starting with our first panelist, real writer Randy Zimmerman. Introduce yourself, sir.
Hey, everybody. I'm Randy Zimmerman. No, I'm a longtime alternative independent comics creator, Arrow Comics, Massive Comics, freelance for many years, done just about everything in this industry that in the comics industry that you can imagine. Haven't had my own movie made yet, though, be or otherwise. So that's something to aspire to. I've written a screenplay in the past, but it didn't go anywhere.
Well, that's why it means you need to go make it. That's what that means.
Yeah, it's still sitting around.
Our next panelist, of course, is Moxie-fueled Mitch Rogers. Mitch, introduce yourself, sir.
Hi, I'm Mitch Rogers. I am the writer, artist, and creator of the Boger horror comic book series, and I've been in the indie comic field for 14 years now.
Awesome. All right. And our special panelist tonight, director, writer, and actor, Jake Estrada. Jake, introduce yourself, sir.
Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Jake Estrada. I've actually published comics myself, and I've starred in quite a few indie films. And I love being a creator and love being creative, and I use any outlet I can to be the creator. So that's pretty much me. Oh, and plus I'm 6'9", everybody. Let me stand up. No.
Yeah. Let's say. Let's look to our comments real quick. Let's say Grant Linkard says, "Hey-o."
Hey-o.
Of course, we say thanks for tuning in, and no problem. Nita, how's it going? She stop talking to him now. Anyway, so Jake, what got you into doing low budget movies? Like,
so what happened one day? I was walking down the street. I had just moved down from Philly to Florida, and I'm walking down the street, and some guy's like, "Hey, have you ever thought about being in a movie? We have this shoot happening over here in Merritt Island, and we need a tall goon like you." And I'm like, "Okay, how much you going to pay me?" And it was like,
there you go. That's the button.
But that pretty much that's the rest. That's history right there. And it got me, thinking like, I could do this more often.
So then you moved from that and started making your own, or just kind of?
No, I actually went around as extras and stupid little things that, uncredited extras, and, spend a day in Orlando on some set. They'll give you food and maybe $100, maybe $50, maybe nothing, You're there, you're seeing what they're doing, and you're like, oh, okay, and you get talking to different people. So it was a great learning experience, and it was, it's fun. You go out there and, oh yeah, I was in that movie, and people are like, yeah, right, I didn't see you. We're like, of course not. I'm in the back, all blurred out.
Nice. So, Mitch, now you're a big time B movie fan, huh?
I am. Totally. My love of B movies, I guess, I'd say started with Mystery Science Theater 3000 on Sunday or Saturday mornings back then. And I just, fell in love with the show. And then, of course, after the show ended, I started seeking out B movies and found out that not all of them are bad. Some of them are actually very good and enjoyable. So it just became a rabbit hole of B movies, Z movies, shot on video, all the different subgenres and markets. I became a huge trauma fan
trauma, yeah. Okay. You're gonna have to tell me what is a Z movie?
A Z movie is like B movies typically are categorized as movies that are made outside of the standard Hollywood studio format, like indie movies. Small time studios would make B movies. A lot of times they didn't have the budget or the resources to send them through the theaters. A Z movie is a type of B movie that is made with no budget, no real no big name talent. And usually, like, the quality is very, very questionable. Not talking about bogus in that aspect. I'm just saying that
it's okay. It's all right.
Okay.
The Room would be classified as a Z movie.
What?
Yeah, The Room would be classified as a Z movie.
God.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. So anyone that's ever saw that movie, that is a typical Z movie, as they call them.
Really? Okay. Yes, I've heard of the term before, but I don't really know what classified as a.
It was basically the low-level version of a B movie.
You would classify Plan 9 from Outer Space as a Z movie?
I think it had a bigger budget than most Z movies would.
Eraserhead?
Eraserhead.
Pink Flamingos.
Yeah, those movies, the quality is better than a typical Z movie, but they're made for almost no budget. So I guess they qualify as a Z movie.
Okay. So Randy, what? Really, I didn't prepare any questions, so I'm kind of on the fly on this one tonight. But Randy, tell us about your B movie experience.
Well, we were talking off the air. One of the early movie channels on cable for me was Spotlight, and they would always run a turkey festival around Thanksgiving, where they showed the B, C's, and I guess Z movies like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes and just the real bad B movies. But the other big thing was with the advent of videotape. I had a Betamax machine back when Beta was raging, and I used to swing by our local Super City is what they were called, and they would get in new movies every week, and it didn't matter what it was. We would rent it and take it home and watch it on television because we could control the film. And I got to see more than my fair share of bad B movie horror films during that period. So that was really the start of it. And then as a kid growing up, the midnight shows that I'd go to, which was pretty much anything. It didn't matter what it was. If it was showing at midnight, I used to work third shift in order to stay away from my parents. So in the weekends, I'd be like, I'm up. I'm going to go see a movie. Okay, see you later. So I would go catch anything on the midnight shows. So that was like Groove Tube and Monty Python, if you were lucky.
So like about the 70s and the 80s, those were really heightened when you had those like
prime
independent
movies.
You
just
mentioned
as videotape was coming in, and anybody could cut a great movie, an independent film, and get it out there on videotape, and everybody was starved for that kind of entertainment as well. But back when Trauma started up, Full Moon started up, all of that great stuff. Yes,
I did end up watching, and I've seen it years ago, but I did end up watching The Toxic Avenger.
Oh yeah!
Again. Oh my gosh! What's crazy about that is I do remember and it was also, we were talking, they would make a cartoon out of anything in the 80s.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. You could probably come and tell me that there was actually a Nightmare on Elm Street cartoon, and I'll believe you. I have no idea.
It was a TV show.
Might have been.
I remember the TV show, Freddy's Dreams. I remember that one. Or Freddy's Nightmares or something like that.
Might have been. Freddy might have come out just on that cusp where everybody started being concerned about showing violence to kids.
It's a possibility.
So a guy with razors on the end of his fingers might not sell as a cartoon.
You'd be surprised what they ended up doing, because you take like I remember Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, and
at least not for kids. Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, and then of course, although I did see Attack of the Killer Tomatoes when I was a kid, but like you take Toxic Avenger versus the Toxic Crusaders cartoon that they came out with.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's not one of those ones where you can take the kid and go say, oh, it's a Ninja Turtle movie.
Yeah. If you take a kid to the Toxic Avenger, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah. It's really crazy, and that's a huge, what was it? What was his name? Lloyd Kaufman?
Lloyd Kaufman, yeah.
Yeah, he really had and now I think they're remaking it, if I'm not mistaken.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, it won't be the same. Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. Can you really remake that movie? Because some of this stuff has that down home, grassroots feel to it that really made it what it is. I can't imagine.
Well, like Mitch said, it wouldn't be the same. Doesn't matter how they do it. It doesn't matter what kind of budget they put on it. It won't be the same as the original. There's just too much to be said for that B movie quality, It's just like all those old Full Moon videos. They're all still watchable. Some of them are dated because of the costuming and whatnot, but a lot of that stuff is still very entertaining. There he is, Toxic Crusaders.
Toxic Crusader. Now you look at him, and they got the tutu on him still, but
cleanup time.
They made him green on the cartoon. Do you think that was do you think maybe that was a conscious effort to keep from the flesh tone that they used in the movie?
Probably, because the flesh tone was kind of a sickly looking, kind of like a sickly, I don't know what the proper term, but like an ashy, it just didn't look pleasing to the eye. Which is not supposed to be covered in toxic waste.
Well, green's always been associated with a bad virus and ooky stuff anyway. Look at the green slime that was probably out during that period. So.
Right.
Oh, another great B movie.
Slime?
The green slime?
The green slime?
Well, I don't think I'm familiar with that one.
We were talking about The Stuff many episodes back. That was a great B movie.
Larry Cohen, he made a lot of great ones.
Mm-hmm.
It's Alive, Q the Winged Serpent.
So, Jake? So, can you think of any movies that you would like to shine the light on, as far as that are not very well known?
I don't know. Basket Case. I don't know. like he was
classic.
saying,
Absolute classic.
Yeah. Or like he was saying, the Full Moon movies, like Subspecies, or there's a lot of different ones that come to mind. The stuff they did with that. But like you go back to the Toxic Avenger, that's a great one right there. And the thing about
classic,
classic. And like you said, they made cartoons out of everything. You got to think about it. They made a Rambo cartoon. So
yeah,
right, yeah. What is the deal with that? Well, you look at okay, I know Ghostbusters. Everybody's real familiar, with the Ghostbusters, the real Ghostbusters. But you got to remember, he done a blowjob from a ghost in the freaking movie.
Yeah,
you kind of like, you really want to make this a kids cartoon?
It was
Beetlejuice. They made a freaking cartoon.
And it was a very popular cartoon too. So,
yeah, Beetlejuice or
Ghostbusters.
The real Ghostbusters. Yeah. Well, it was. Now you want to talk about the first Ghostbusters. Let me see if I can find that with the.
I don't know if I would consider Ghostbusters to be a B movie. Would you?
No, I'm not talking about the Dan Aykroyd one now.
Oh, there you go. You're talking about the TV series
with the gorilla,
Larry Storch, and Forrest Tucker. Yeah, your name is your destiny. Anyway.
Yeah, well, when they came out. They had this back in the 1960s, 1970s.
They made a cartoon about that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was
the original. The original Ghostbusters is what they called it. Yeah.
They went through what was it? Who was it that did it? Wasn't Warner Brothers? It was Columbia? No. Who was the one that put out Ghostbusters? No, it's Sony.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember the woman with the torch. I can't remember which one she was.
That's Columbia. Yeah.
That's a Columbia, right.
Yeah.
I had a hell of a time trying to get the name.
Now that Ghostbusters was done a couple of years after F Troop.
You remember this one pretty well.
Larry Storch and Forrest Tucker got to know each other on the set there, and decided to do a Saturday morning show.
Yeah, that's a show I haven't thought about in a long time. F Troop.
Well, you don't see it very often anymore.
No.
So we've kind of grown as a culture away from them kind of stereotypes. So, yeah. Some of the natives on there weren't very flattering.
So do you think that so let me ask this question. So now that we see, there are B movies coming up, there's more, we have YouTube, we have all this. Are we going to start seeing some of these movies, some of these independents even push that line now?
Well, you might start seeing a lot of them come back if a lot of these streaming services cut back on their original content.
Yeah,
they might go back there and start digging up those old catalogs, because there's still some great gems out there to be found that would be considered B movies that are still just great to watch.
Yeah.
So
I mean, but what I'm saying
wouldn't surprise me. You can still catch them on Tubi or what was it? That was a link that you sent us, right? Was Tubi?
Yeah.
Tubi's got them. Pluto's got them. Plex has got them. You just got to look around for them. So
yeah, there's a ton of like Roku channels surrounded around like B movies, Grindhouse, and all that stuff.
Yeah,
there's a whole subculture that revolves around.
Well, and all those made for drive-in movies back then were all B movies.
Yeah,
most of the time they were just up there to fill space and light the drive-in screen, because they knew all the kids were getting busy in their cars. So
yeah.
Didn't matter what was on the screen that much.
Right. Let's say we got let's check out the chat. Chat's Darren. Oh, hi, Mark. Of course, this is
Darren.
Cut from the room, of course. Then Nicholas talk cartoons have changed a lot as the influence of anime has become mainstream. Yeah. Well, yeah, but anime, that's the funny thing about that is anime is violent.
Well, you're seeing animes rise the same way that you're seeing manga rise up over comics. The modern stuff, coming out, especially the stuff coming out of the corporations now, are so substandard that you're looking for good entertainment anywhere else. So anime jumps out, and you occasionally get those animes that are just genius and beautifully done. Same thing with manga. You'll catch those properties every once in a while that are just great, but they're just like with modern comics. 80% or so of them are just kind of, meh, I guess you would say. It's not like when we're talking B movies back during the start of the videotape era, there was some really great stuff coming out that were done on an incredibly low budget because nobody knew how much money they were going to make off of these things. So they just did it, or invested and did it, There's a great B movie, or what's considered a B movie out there, that Michael Nesmith from the Monkees bought into, called Time Rider. That is gotten a big cult status, about a motorcycle rider who started traveling through time.
Time Rider.
That was big on video, but you never saw it anywhere else. It was almost a made for it. It ended up on video. I doubt it was made for video initially, but it's a great old film. I remember it fondly from my youth. Put it that way.
And it was just Time Rider.
Yeah, Time Rider. It's all one word.
The Adventure of Lyle Swan.
Could be.
Yeah, believe it or not, you can't really find anything.
And a guy in a spacesuit.
Oh, Fred Ward was in it.
Fred Ward was in it. Yes.
R.I.P.
Yeah, just recently passed.
And it was a serious movie.
Oh yeah. It was a good yarn. Adventure flick. Something that you could sit there at home, pop a tape in, and lose yourself for an hour and a half. One of those, maybe 2 hours at the most. Just lose yourself.
Of course,
Nicholas Killer Tomatoes was genius. Yeah,
absolutely. Nick, I sent you a link, man. If you want to come in and come talk, because you look like you got a lot to say, man. Come say it.
Nick knows a lot about that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. Why, Lisa? Why? And I feel okay. The Room, whatever it was, Z movie, B movie, or whatever the case is, has kind of wormed its way into being that idea of an independent film or a B movie, and I don't think it really earns that, to be honest with you.
You think it's higher?
No, yeah, it's classic math. No,
I might have seen the movie. I can't remember if I have or not. So I
remember watching The Cube.
You remember it.
You'll remember seeing it.
I remember watching The Cube. That was fun.
The Cube.
Very low budget, but a lot of fun.
Was that the one where they were all trapped in they wake up inside the cube or whatever, and they have to find their way out and stuff?
There's been multiple sequels to that too.
Yeah, it was not a bad movie at all.
Well, that was a while there back in that came out about 98, 99.
It was like a cooler Saw.
Yeah, but that was a cheaper budget. That was way before Saw.
Way before, yep.
It was direct to video because I was working in the video store when that came out. You had a lot of that stuff that was coming out.
I remember seeing it on the Sci-Fi Channel. Yeah.
And
Sci-Fi, back when Sci-Fi was good, they'd show all sorts of oddball B movies, and anything that was science fiction they could get their hands on or close to it, they'd show. Gee, I haven't looked at Sci-Fi Channel in years. So
yeah, well, that's what I'm wondering. See, because when we talk about B movies, and
it's like MTV used to be phenomenal at one time, and used to be the thing to sit and we watch all day, and now it's like MTV.
Well, see now, but you're coming up with movies and stuff that they're making to purposely be mimicking a B movie. Like you have, of course, you have the Sharknadoes.
Yeah,
but you also have. But is that really a B movie? I mean, it's a made-for-TV movie, really, right? I mean,
it was made by the Sci-Fi Network, so it does have a B movie feel to it, and it is like purposely hokey, to kind of give the flair of a B movie. But I mean,
again, it goes back and tries to recapture that charm that those old B movies used to have, So it's my brain check entertainment, is what I would call it.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's what I'm saying.
Someone calls that a B movie.
Don't try to make it make sense. Just sit there and enjoy it. Yeah.
No, you can't make that make sense. If you do, you'll go crazy. Nicholas is just going off in the comments. Look at this. I like Sergeant Kabuki, man. LAPD better than
Top yeah.
But Sam Hill comes Frogtown.
Frogtown.
It was amazing. Okay. I have no idea.
Can't say I've
what is that one about?
Sam Hell Comes Frogtown.
It's Rowdy Roddy Piper in the future. Apparently, mankind is
there you go. You're there.
Yes, mankind has become infertile, and he's like the last fertile human. So all these women are trying to have sex with him, and they get lost in a town full of like frog toad creatures.
Yeah.
It's what you think it would be.
And Sergeant Kabuki Man, I think I've heard of this one before.
Oh, that's a trauma film. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. That got really close to being a cartoon too, if I remember right.
Yeah.
If it didn't actually make a cartoon out of it.
They did, and I think they were going to after the success of Toxic Crusaders, but something happened and it fell through.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me put this up here.
Nicholas has to actually hop off and take care of my wife and kid. So they're sick. Oh, I hope they get better soon, Nicholas.
Yeah. Maybe next time, Nick.
Just had to stick my nose in. Your nose is welcome anytime, buddy.
Yes, sir. Here we go.
There we are.
Sergeant Kabuki Man. All right. Okay. I'm all right. Look, I've got to find the premise for this. Has anybody seen this? Or
yeah,
it's been years.
It's a cop I forgot what happens to him, but he gets cursed and he's possessed by this Kabuki demon, and he fights crime.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that works. Yeah, so this is just kind of like, this is just people's fantasies that they're like, there's no way a big name studio is going to necessarily make something like this. Of course, this is Troma, so they're going to do what the hell. We watched the Troma movie the other day, where basically instead of keeping the baby, they threw away the baby and kept the placenta.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's a Belgian movie. Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. Occasionally Troma will acquire the rights to these obscure B movies, either from America or overseas, and distribute them. And that was one of the ones that they bought the rights to distribute. It's, yeah. You've seen it, so I don't have to.
Because the entire
how
time
obscure it is.
We're watching it. Yeah, obscure it is. Well, we're watching it, and because basically they take the baby, put the baby in a bio bag. In fact, the mother, who's like actually a man but has like one arm that's like built, body built. I don't know if you've ever seen Lady in the Water, and they had that one guy that was just building up one arm for some reason. He was trying to build up part of his half of his body, but not the other half. So it was just one arm, big, all muscular. And she actually sits down and eats the baby like she would, like some people eat the placenta, I guess. What imagination is that? Imagination is that? What kind of fever dream gives you that kind of idea?
Yeah.
PCP is a hell of a drug.
I'm telling you, Nita said it was great. At the end, he basically gets eaten by his priest.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Yeah, because the priest can't do priestly things because of what he is. Yeah, he just eats them.
Yeah. I don't. Right, but so see, it just leaves you breathless. But you're not going to find that. You're not going to find that kind of imagination in what you see in movie theaters nowadays. And I get it. When you're looking at big business, you're talking about AT&T, and they're not really worried about. Well, they were AT&T. Now I think Warner Brothers is sold to Discovery or something.
Yeah, they're Discovery Plus.
Yeah, but these people aren't worried about. They're worried about money. So where do you go to get the creativity that you want? What? Like Jake, what inspired you to make Bocas?
Boredom.
There you go.
I was bored, and I was like, I have to make a movie. No.
Hey, that's how it started.
Yeah. I was like, I'm just going to make it. I'm just going to go out and do it. Have a little fun. Hang out with my friends while we do it. And laugh about it, how cheesy this is.
But see, but by the end of it, you have something that you're actually proud of, no matter what comes out of it. It was fun to do. Yeah. And now you're making another one.
Yeah.
You're kind of stepping it up.
Yeah. Yeah. So right after Bocas, I ended up making one right around COVID when it first came out called Zoomed. Yeah. So we were doing the Zoom time killer, and we were like on this, and then our friends were disappearing. Oh! So we had a little fun doing that, and then I decided to go back to Bocas to make a sequel out of that.
All right, cool. Yeah, we actually own Zoom over there. We haven't watched it. But yeah. So that's what. So y'all kind of made it off of Zoom, like the.
Oh yeah, because we were sitting around, and I was like, originally I was filming another movie called The Human Virus, which was another one inspired from another one of my comics, and we were doing that. And I actually had rented this little old beat up supermarket area, and I had people ready to come out in all the extras of zombies. And then the sheriff department over here in Brevard County, Space Coast, Florida, decided to shut us down. Like, no, COVID, the restrictions, this and that. And I'm like, damn, man, I went out of my way. I was trying to be
They're not
legal.
real zombies. Chill out. They're not real zombies.
So I'm sitting around, me and my friend Chuck, and we're like, man, this is boring. I'm sitting home, getting fatter, eating everything I see. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? You know what? We should make a movie about Zoom. Maybe it'd be a ghost story, because I do some paranormal show as well called Under Presence, and so we're messing around, and before you know it, like, you know what? We're going to make a brand new serial killer called a Zoom time killer, and pretty much all our friends were just hanging online, talking over Zoom, and we had the little script that you'll just disappear and die, and I was like, I'll make sure I take a COVID test before I go to your house towards the end of the movie, so I don't give you COVID if I have COVID. Maybe I have the flu instead, And we were like running around with that idea. So we made that movie during that period, and that's how Zoom came about. And then, as things progressed back to normal in life, we started doing other stuff, and then I came back to Bocas, and pretty much. Whatever, you can make a movie about anything, like we're talking about right here, all the kind of different B movies and everything like that, right, Z movies. So I was like, this is a perfect opportunity to do that. And I submitted Zoom to a few film festivals, and a few of them have given us, runner-ups and nominated us for some stuff. Never won anything on it, but that's cool. So
there you go.
Yeah.
And of course, Nita lets us know Meredith.
Yeah, Meredith is in it too. Yeah, believe it or not.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to it. It's still, but she passed. But we're, she had a lot of fun doing it. She was very proud of it. Awesome. That's kind of one of the things about this show. Why? Because that's what we would do on a Saturday night or a Friday night. Is Nita, Meredith, and I would get in a StreamYard and watch a bad movie. We saw one of those was we saw Santa Jaws about the shark. The shark that came, that was, I don't remember, if you didn't celebrate Christmas, the shark would come or something. It was crazy. Well, of course, this is a newer one, and she kind of had, she was doing Geek Insider, so she kind of had leeway to some of these movies that. And what gets me is a lot of these movies, people could just grab a camera and just go. Some of them, Santa Jaws made sense. Believe it or not, Santa Jaws made sense. And you're like, okay, a shark, it was entertaining. The shark, sure, whatever. You can suspend belief. I cannot, for the life of me, I can't remember if the shark could go on land or not. I'm sure there's B movie out there where the shark can. So
there's sand sharks.
There you go. See, but
Tremors.
But that was still kind of a big budget movie, Tremors, or was?
Yeah, it's right there on the fringe. I think it was a low budget A flick. Yeah.
Wait, but you see, those type of movies could make it into the movie theater now. Could make it into the movie theaters then. Can that kind of thing make it now? I mean,
what really made that movie, though, especially the first one, was the writing and the basic idea behind the monster. You know, because you never really saw much of the monster. You just saw the pile of sand moving.
Yeah. You the tongue.
Yeah.
Things lash out and grab people.
Yeah, that's the same time Beetlejuice came out. So you had sandworms all over the place at that point.
Same time as Dune. Yeah.
Well,
David Lynch's Dune, which definitely not a B movie.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I've never seen Dune.
Well,
be honest with you, I've only seen bits and parts of Tremors. I don't like desert stuff. I just get kind of.
Tremors was 1990.
Tremors was 1990. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tremors 2 was 1996.
If you want your movie to make it, you put Kevin Bacon in it.
There you go.
That's all it was. What was the budget on Tremors?
I am not sure. Let me look here.
That should be all over the place now, considering Fred Ward is just passed.
Ron Underwood was the director. It was written by S.S. Wilson, Brent Maddock, and Ron Underwood. Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward, Finn Carter.
Reba McEntire.
Yeah.
I think that's why I didn't watch that movie.
Michael Gross.
She's actually not bad in it. It's good. Michael Gross baked the movie for me, I think.
It's still a great film, though. It still holds up.
This is back in 1990. I was 10 years old. What do I know? But
32 years old now.
Thanks for reminding me.
In the 90s, yeah.
Time Bandits. Was Time Bandits be considered a B movie? No, huh?
Who?
Time Bandits.
So Terry Gilliam.
Terry Gilliam, yeah.
That's a hard call.
Well, you had Sean Connery as the voice of God. You had that's pretty much it. But it was Terry Gilliam.
It was done on a low budget. I don't know if I would consider it to be a B movie, though.
It's more of an art film, I think.
Yeah.
Well, with Terry Gilliam, he's going to run out of those budget no matter what it is anyway.
That you'd go see at midnight just to see it anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's say I grew up with Elvira's movie Macabre and Son of Sven Gulli.
Sven Gulli,
okay.
Sven Gulli still comes out on the Me TV network.
Now, is this the guy with the mustache and the
rubber chickens?
Face?
Yeah.
The top hat.
Yeah, I was in a documentary. That's one of my few IMDb credits. I was in a documentary about B-movie hosts.
Yeah,
and how it was such a phenomenon across the country because it was so easy to do. You could get these low budget films at next to nothing, and you hired some person off the street to host the front and the back. And that's where Elvira came from. Sven Gulli's still around. So there's only maybe a half a dozen still around and out there doing the old movie hosting. But for a while, it was really big. The Ghoul was really big around here, around Detroit.
Well, that's who's doing that now? That on Shudder, they have a guy that does that.
Joe Bob Briggs.
Yeah. So
Joe Bob is kind of does all kinds of old drive-in movies, though, doesn't he? He's kind of got a country.
Well, it's horror, though, right? I mean, it's kind of
not all of them. Yeah,
not all of them.
I wouldn't imagine.
Well, it's on Shudder.
All the ones on
on
Shudder, and when he was on Monster Vision were all horror movies. I don't know about before then. He could have had.
We're talking about guys and girls that dressed up like Elvira and Sven Gulli, who got into these ghoulish costumes and did bits that were just horribly cheaply produced, like Z quality, I guess you would say, that would float in and out between the commercials. Like I said, Sven Gulli is still on MeTV. He's really popular.
Yeah,
he's got a huge following. Yeah, he's got a huge following still. He always ends his show by crawling back into his coffin and having rubber chickens thrown at him.
How long has he been around?
years.
Yeah. There was a Svengoolie before him who was kind of like a hippie ghoul, and then he took over after a while.
Let's see.
There he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's him there.
Yeah.
And that's I'm not familiar with him, but I'm.
He's got a big following in the Midwest, especially around the Chicago area, because that's where he's based out of. That's where MeTV comes out of.
Mm. Okay, yeah. Yeah, well, MeTV likes to show all the old stuff and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're a nostalgia station. Yeah.
But this is actually not the person I was talking about. There's another one. I don't know who this is.
There's been all sorts of them. Just about every independent station had some sort of horror host or cartoon host at one point or another.
Well, look, I used to think it was just only one Bozo the Clown until I realized that they were dying all over the place.
He was a franchise.
Wait a minute. Bozo died like 3 years ago. What happened here?
I think the documentary was called American Scary.
American Scary?
Yeah.
That's the one you were into? Or
yeah. I'm in it just long enough to get a credit. Just I remember so-and-so, boom, gone. But I'm kind of wedged in there with Neil Gaiman and all sorts of other, great people. I was at San Diego one time. Hey, you want to be on a documentary? Yeah, sure. So sat there and got asked questions about who your big guy, your big horror hosts in the area were. And it's really a great documentary because every last one of them says, yeah, we did it on a lark. We thought we would just go out there, introduce some movies to show to the kids Saturday afternoon or Saturday night or whatever. And here it is 20 years later and I'm still doing it.
Well, yeah. I mean, so does that come from like public access or was that on a network
public
thing?
Access has carried them in the past. Usually it's the independent TV stations in your area. And some of the when they want to do local programming, because when you do local programming, you can sell local ads. If you have people out there to dig up ads, locally, you make more money that way.
Right.
Than by just showing a network show. So, hey, Saturday night, that's where Elvira came from. Elvira started out locally and then turned into a big franchise. And Meet TV, you make their Saturday nights. They focus it around Svengoolie. You have science fiction shows before and after him, but he's like dead center in the middle, right at 9 or midnight or whatever he is in your area, and he runs for 2 hours.
Cool. Well, that's the thing. Is you see that nostalgia hit, like we were talking about.
It's always either super old or super B movies. It's always great.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a culture. It's almost. I'd hate to call it a cult following because it's almost a culture out there now. That's coming up. That's really, and that's great because it's appreciative of people who put a lot of work into something.
And then your MST3K and Riff Tracks all come out of those horror hosts. Only they poke fun at the movie while it's playing.
So how did now you had Joel start Mystery Science Theater. Now, how did that start, Mitch? You remember how that started?
Yeah, it started off like Zim was talking about, like a local horror host thing in I forgot what job Joel had. He was like in the news, like some cameraman or something. They hired him to do this show, and he realized how, because they have to watch the movies before they air to make sure if there's anything they need to take out, cussing or stuff like that. And he realized he was just watching the movies, he was just laughing at how bad they were. And then they decided just to run with how bad the movies were. So him and his friends, like made puppets for the robots, Crow and Tom and Gypsy. And they just, put little silhouettes of them at the bottom of each movie. And
it took off and it's been a phenomenon. Now they tried to bring it back
thing. Well, even though they got big, they never lost that B movie flavor. I mean, you could tell one of the puppets is a gumball machine. That's just classic stuff. It's just great stuff.
Well, I don't know. They brought it back on Netflix. I don't know if it's still
got canceled.
And again, it didn't have the same charm. They tried to write down
you had
their audience, and just they didn't have the original creators with it, just the people that owned the name, and it turned into an embarrassment, really.
Well, you put people in there like, and this is not a stab at them whatsoever. That's not what I mean. But you had Felicia Day, Felicia Day, and you had Patton Oswalt, and he was supposed to be TV Frank's son, and it just they made a production out of it, and it kind of took away from the wholesomeness that was Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah. One thing that I found really disappointing about it was the movies were kind of an afterthought in the revival.
Mm-hmm.
Because I noticed I watched like the first 2 episodes, and I was, I was so looking forward to it when it was coming out. Then I saw the first 2 episodes, I was so let down. Like they wouldn't even play the full movie. I noticed because there were chunks that were obviously taken out, and they had like random musical numbers, and while they're watching the movie, the silhouettes, sometimes would do stuff. Like the first episode had Tom Servo, the gumball machine, fly up and around the screen. And it's like, what? No, they're supposed to sit there and make fun of the movie. They had celebrity cameos all over the place. And God.
Well, the guy that was hosting it, he wasn't necessarily a bad host. The one that took Joel and later on Mike's place was he was from something that was kind of big. Was what Nerdist? The Nerdist, I think it was. I think
so, yeah.
And it's like, but you kind of took out the thing about Joel was kind of down to earth. He was just an average guy, and poor Mike, he was an average guy too, but he was a janitor.
Yeah.
Well, and now if you go over to Pluto, they have an entire channel devoted to MST3K.
Absolutely.
They have an entire channel dedicated to riff tracks. That's all they show.
Yeah. Well, what's crazy is when you see one of those Mystery Science Theaters, and it's a movie you remember seeing.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you remember seeing it in the movie theater. You're kind of like, wow, gee, I think they did Mac and Me for the new ones, and it was kind of like, golly, I remember Mac and Me. But so like Jake said, they were doing the Zoom. They basically had what they could. They made a movie out of it. So Blair Witch Project I would guess that would be considered a B movie, right?
It would.
That could very possibly be a Z movie.
I think it was under
just caught on, and a lot of people saw it at the theater. Yeah.
Well, you know what? The marketing behind that movie is really what kills it. Because
it wasn't the budget, that's for sure.
No, it definitely wasn't the budget. But what I remember when that came out, I was 19 years old, so I was never home. So I never saw any advertisement for it or whatever. But I was working at a video store, and the guy's like, "Yeah, this is based on no, this is true. They found these, and he believed anything, poor guy." He's like, "Oh, they found these lost tapes and everything, and they're showing it, and it's all it's real, and it's all," because that's what they were playing at first.
That was also the early days of the internet, and a lot of people were getting away with a lot of that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, look, Sci-Fi Channel, I think, bought into it a little bit too to try to promote it, and so I was like, "That's horrible! How could Hollywood do that? One ticket, please." And when you're like watching it, you're like, "Okay, I can see this being real," and this other stuff happening. When you take it in that mind frame, it's not a bad movie. But when you realize you could have done a little bit more.
Well, I'm sure they were thinking that too, if only they had a little bit more money.
Right. Yeah, because that was made for basically chump change.
Pretty much.
Z budget, yeah.
Well, I think they ended up leaving like notes everywhere. It wasn't even directed. It was like, note here, act this way, and they went to then move and go to this certain spot in the woods and then act like this. They said the actress, who, mind you, I think was in one other movie after that, lost her mind because it creeped her out so bad. And I guess when you're like, "Hey, let's go make a movie," let's go in the woods, and you're around a bunch of guys, and then all this weird stuff starts happening. You're kind of like, yeah.
That could also be urban legend too.
That's a possibility.
Just to help sell the movie a little bit more.
But who knows, right? Who knows?
Yeah. The last thing I saw her in was actually two things. Was a Sci-Fi Channel miniseries called Taken that was about alien abduction.
Mm-hmm.
And she was in one of the first episodes of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia as the girl that conned Charlie into thinking he knocked her up, although they never had sex. I don't know if you remember that episode.
My gosh. No, I don't think I've seen that one, but I could see it happening. She was in a movie with Jason Biggs, one of those movies that he was doing right after American Pie or whatever. It was like a bit part. But I don't think I've ever seen the guys in anything that was from that.
Jason Leonard or Josh Leonard, he pops up every once in a while. He's kind of become like one of those like character actors that you see every once in a while. But the other guy, I don't think did anything.
Which one is the one you're talking about?
Jason Leonard was the guy with the ponytail.
Okay.
The guy that gets
Joshua
taken
Leonard.
halfway. Joshua Leonard.
Yeah. Michael C. Williams, and Heather Donahue. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So that means so it is possible to have a successful B movie, as we can see.
Oh, Heather Donahue's had a career.
Has she?
Yeah. The last thing she's credited for is The Morgue that came out in 2008. Always Sunny in Philadelphia, a long list of Taken's episodes she was on.
That was the miniseries on Sci-Fi.
Yeah. Was that
Before that, she did.
One?
Back in '97, she did Raw, Stripped to the Bone. Blair Witch, Curse of Blair Witch, Boys and Men, Home Field Advantage. Did an episode of Outer Limits, 7 and a Match. Came out in 2001. The Velvet Tigress, which was a short. New Suit, The Big Time, which is a made-for-TV movie. Taken miniseries, Without a Trace. She was on an episode. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Manticore, done in 2005. And The Morgue was the last thing that they credit her in. That was 2008. So she had a bit of a career.
Last I heard, she owns a pot farm or something in California, I think.
Oh, so she cashed in. That's what that was.
Yeah. Well, if you had the choice, yeah. Long, sketchy, spotty movie career, pot farm now.
Seems like a natural progression. That's what we're talking about. But so it's horror. I mean, but you see mostly when you see B movies, you see a lot of horror. Is it? Surely it's not easier to make horror movies. So is it just because you are able to do certain things that you wouldn't be allowed to do in a regular movie, or
it's a lot more stuff you can hide in the dark?
Yeah.
Would be
like the latest Batman movie. 3/4 of that's so dark you can hardly see it.
That's a big movie.
I would think there's a lot of that flavor to it, though, and that's not a bad thing. It was intentionally done. It was a choice by the director. But yeah, half of the time I'm like going, is there a contrast on the TV? We can turn this up some, so you can't see nothing.
Yeah, but the next one comes out, it's just going to be pitch black, I think.
Well, all the Batmans run in a progression. There's usually a trilogy that goes good, bad, horrible. So
what happens when they start off horrible? Anyway.
Well, you just saw the good.
Worse.
Yeah, you just saw the good. Next one, the third one, that's when they probably add the nipples to the suit.
Oh. Anyway, but I mean, so basically, like say, Night of the Living Dead, B movie.
Absolutely.
Yep. But it's such a classic, it doesn't really register as a B movie, you know?
But then again,
as a B movie.
It's like the Full Moon Productions. There's nothing that George A. Romero ever did that wasn't worth sitting around and watching, no matter what the budget was on.
Right. Yeah.
Because he had an eye directorially that always kept the movie interesting, even when it was the most absurd premise.
Right.
But Night of the Living Dead is classic because it's deeper than what it is. It seems to be on the surface because you go in expecting a zombie movie and you get a morality lesson.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that's just great entertainment. You know?
Well, I mean, but that's kind of a spillover from the Twilight Zone era and
Absolutely.
the Outer Limits era and stuff like that, was stuff that actually had
absolutely
a story that had a deeper meaning than what you're actually seeing.
Yeah.
Well, Roger Corman movies were always like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was usually like a anti-nuke message, or anti or like a pro-environmentalist message hidden under the silly monster outfits.
It's where you Battle Beyond the Planets or Battle Beyond the Stars, where
Battle
you learn
Beyond the
there's no real dog in hot dogs. Yeah.
Wait, what? I hope not. But,
if you've never seen Battle Beyond the Stars, again, it's like those old great Full Moon and Trauma B movies. And Corman's the same way. He can do an interesting movie. He did movies primarily for drive-ins originally. That's where I saw Battle Beyond the Stars, but it was amazing because it was 7 samurai in space. It was quickly put together because Star Wars was making so much money, and everybody and their brother was like, "Hey, we can make money if we do a space film. Come on!" So they sat down and did a bunch of great-looking ships. They went out and found a couple of actors that had somewhat names: Robert Vaughn off of Man from U.N.C.L.E. and Sybil Danning, who's amazing.
I love Sybil Danning.
Yep, see, who has become known as a B movie queen. Sat there and what's his name from the Waltons? Richard Thomas. Richard Thomas was the lead. Put him out in space. Take 7 samurai, the basic premise, and stick them out in space, and there you go. Let them run. There's some great ship designs that Corman ended up using over and over again for about a good decade and a half afterwards. Anytime he did a space movie, there was that ship. You know, that was riding through.
Yeah, that same those same ships were also used in, I don't know if you've ever heard of Galaxy of Terror. Mm-hmm. That's one of my favorite Corman space movies.
Just what a great production on a shoestring budget.
Yeah.
You know, and if you haven't seen it, it's worth your time watching. Just brain check and sit and watch it if you ever find it. It's just beautiful stuff. But then again, the Fantastic Four movie he did was worth watching.
See, I was going to bring it up, but then I thought maybe I shouldn't.
Strictly B movie, no budget. I've got the rights. We got to do a film. Let's do a film. So,
but what's sad about it was they made more money not showing that film than they would have showing that film. Is what they said. From what I understand, they actually sent out cease and desist to the actors who were trying to go out and openly promote that movie.
Who sent the cease and desist?
It was the studio. No, it was 20th Century Fox.
It was
because they were trying to squelch any.
You
don't want to see this move. If only they'd done that with the Fan Four-Stick movie, the last Fantastic Four movie that came out, which the Corman movie is probably a lot better written.
The only reason they even made it was because they needed to keep the rights.
Yeah.
Like for some reason they had the rights and they were about to expire. So Corman was like, let's just make a movie so we can keep the rights. And
he never had any intention of having it shown or anying. That movie.
Yeah, I don't think they did. Yeah. Yeah. I remember the last scene after Reed and Sue get married as they're driving away, and when Reed's hand is waving like those inflatables you see at the used car lots. As they go by. Great outstretched rubber hand. Yeah. A rubber arm. I
don't see how that's going to work with that looking like. I just don't see how that one's going to work, period.
But that's what's going to make the MCU revision of FF that more amazing, is because you're going to have all of these other examples of the B movie FF and the 2A movies that they tried to do with the Silver Surfer in it, and then that Fan Four-Stick mess that they did, just all to compare to it. So they're going to have to be careful.
Yeah. Yeah,
they'll still make money because anything MCU does right now, they could do Mr. Hankey's Adventures as an MCU movie, and they'd make a ton of money. They
would make a ton of money off of that. So here, let's go ahead.
I'm still waiting for that Howard the Duck reboot. Come on, Marvel. Let's see it. That'd have been the great way to start another version of the MCU, is to have him get the Infinity Gauntlet. I was almost positive that's how it was going to work. He's going to walk up and put the Infinity Gauntlet on, snap his fingers, and the screen would go black, and it's like, coming soon, another new Marvel movie. All redone.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's take a couple of bumps, and we'll come back and discuss this a little bit more. Maybe
that's not the way you should present that.
Well, what am I supposed to do? I'm trying to get out of here.
Just some commercial. No, saying a couple of bumps might be a little suggestive.
Oh my gosh! Especially after we
Amber Heard on the stand taking a couple of bumps. Yeah.
So just when you thought we were the show unmolested by the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
Sorry. I like that quote that's going around Facebook with Amber Heard saying, "I was the only one who gave a shit about this relationship." Anyway.
Anyway, let's take a couple of yeah, we'll be right back. Oh my gosh.
Hi everyone, Daphne Lage here. Join Nita Lanning and me on the RAGIN 2 The Vlogs show, where we talk about everything, nothing, and all the bits in between. Looking for hour-long conversations about indie comics, social media marketing, and crowdfunding, with the occasional rant and story time? Head on over to the RAGIN 2 channel on YouTube, Mondays through Fridays at 11 a.m. Eastern to join in the chat.
Hit the button.
Your favorite podcast is Critical Blast.
All right, nothing worse than receiving a package your sadistic, nihilistic mail carrier has declared war on, then shoved and abused into your mailbox. If you're an independent comic creator, seeing those wounded packages has got to hurt. Well, we here at RAGIN 2 Broadcasting feel your pain. In order to care and protect your project, RAGIN and Gemini mailers have teamed up to offer you a 5% discount on your Gemini mailers. With their sophisticated packaging system, Gemini offer a level of protection to battle off any war-weary postman. Head over to Gemini Mailer and to get 5% off and type in RAGIN2. Now, disclaimer, not all mail carriers are sadistic or nihilistic. We at Dispatches highly respect the U.S. Postal Service and know that sometimes you can tell what kind of mail carrier they are by lightly petting them. Disclaimer, do not pet your mail carrier. Also, now you've been bombarded by invitations and requests to like the pages on Facebook. Have you wanted to like pages, but feel that if you did, you'd just be encouraging them to ask you to like more? Maybe you're tired of seeing pages just post every other post in your feed. Well, rest assured, I have a page for you. Dispatches from outside the box won't beg for page likes, though we are getting desperate, but we'll appreciate any that we get. We won't ask for any more because, quite frankly, we don't have that kind of energy. And don't worry about numerous posts. We barely post as it is, despite the fact that C has been promising to take care of this, but is still dealing with that lack of energy thing. Of course, maybe you have a question for the panel. Great. You can type in the dispatches from outside the box at gmail.com, or just head over to the page, fist bump a like, and press the email link to ask anything you want. And if you haven't, make sure to subscribe to RAGIN 2 Broadcasting on YouTube. It has wonderful programs that may not be as great as this one. Only one way to find out. Like, subscribe, jingle the bell, leave a comment, sell a child, attend a march, tell a dictator who loves us enough to tell everyone to subscribe, but we unabashedly reject any dictatorship. So go over there and do that. Anyway, so I noticed this in the comments, and we wasn't able to get to it because Nick inundated the comments with comments. Let's see. Where is it?
That's what most commentators should do.
Most.
Commenters, I should say.
So, is this the worst movie ever made? Manos,
No.
The Hand of Fate.
No.
It's bad, but not the worst movie ever made. There's there's a lot of movies I would consider the worst movie ever made over that one.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, The Room. Have you ever heard of Things? There's a movie. It's I'll consider it a Z movie filmed on a camcorder. Let's see what else. A friend of mine showed me a movie called Oversexed Rug Suckers from Mars.
Mm-hmm.
That was bad in every way.
Probably sold videotapes just on the title.
Yeah. Well, the video title is this awesome, like, giant robot attacking a town, and that's nowhere in the movie. It's very badly focused. The entire movie's blurry, and it's about a killer vacuum cleaner.
Cool. Awesome.
Well, yeah.
Well,
I mean, like,
it had potential, but usually when you see vacuum cleaner kill a person, you want to see a vacuum cleaner kill a person and not a blob attacking another blob.
well, there was actually
It was
a movie
so out of
about
focus.
about genes killing people, and as I
About
understand, that
genes?
genes,
What?
yes, blue genes,
Blue Jeans. Okay.
killing people. And that actually it was pretty good, believe it or not.
I was going to bring up the movie Tread, which I believe was on Netflix. I'm pretty sure that's what the title of it was, about a killer tire.
Yes. Rubber.
Was it rubber?
Rubber? Might have been Rubber. Yeah.
And it had telekinetic powers that
Heads
kill
explode.
people. Yeah.
Wait, hold on. The tire had telekinetic powers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yet at the beginning of the movie, the actor playing like the sheriff, is like, in this movie, why don't they ever explain this? No reason. In this movie, why don't they ever explain this? No reason. He gives this list of stuff. He's like, well, that's our movie.
There you go. There you go. Well, I mean, but does it really have to explain?
No.
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 No, I think the thing about one thing about these types of movies is it does help you to lower your I don't say
Lower your expectations.
Well, I hate to say expectations necessarily, but yeah, to an extent. But you also your inhibitions, so you kind of enjoy them a lot more than you might would when you go see the next Thor movie or the next Batman movie or whatever the case is, because there's a certain expectation now that you have for those type of movies versus somebody putting something together in their basement.
I think the previous Batman movie always lowers your expectations for the new Batman movie coming out.
Exactly.
That's just my opinion, though. So, anyway.
What, Randy? You don't like Cancer Joker?
My gosh.
The one in the latest one, no, but
had
was
all these like boils on his face. No, it's about the one
Ledger
boils
was
on his
interesting.
face from.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
there was one in the new one.
Yeah, at the
I
very
think all you
end.
heard was his voice, wasn't it? Just laughing at somebody in the asylum.
There's a
Laughing at
deleted
Riddler?
scene, I think.
Yeah.
Is what it
Oh, is there? Yeah.
He's got like patches of hair and it looks like he has syphilis or herpa AIDS of the face.
Mm.
Dude, what the what? What is that?
Sure, he'll probably show up in that Penguin
that's what I
streaming service or streaming show. So that's coming up. So we'll see.
Yeah, well. Anyway. So Mitch, if you were going to suggest a movie to watch, what would it be? What is the definitive B movie to watch?
Well, if you're talking about good B movies that have a huge cultural impact, I would probably recommend Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Evil Dead. Both are B movies. If you want to watch just a bad movie, like a bad B movie, it would be Manos, because at least unlike The Room, there's an easily following plot.
Is
like
there?
Compared to The Room and Things and see what else did I mention? Yeah, Things, The Room, Yeah, like you can actually follow what's going on. It doesn't make sense, but you know what's going on.
Okay, I have, well, The Room, yes, for the majority, but then there's certain things that you're kind of like, what?
Yeah. When the couple just breaks into the woman's house and has sex, then her and her mom come home, and the mom literally asks, "Who are these people?" You never mention it again.
That's it. But you don't have to, because it's your movie. You can do whatever you damn well please. Jake, is there any type of movie that you would suggest watching that might be besides Bocas?
Like for me, it was always like you said, Evil Dead was a favorite of mine. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, those type of B movies. When I was as a kid, my mother would rent them and I would watch them. See, my mother was the type of person I got a movie, I don't know what it is, just watch it. And I just fell in love watching kind of movies like that. Me and my brother. So those are the two that come to mind most.
Yeah. All right. I mean, absolutely.
My ex-wife used to be addicted to bad horror films. We'd always watch 2 or 3 of them a night. So I got to see a lot of them back during the, let's say, the late 80s, early 90s. So,
any of them stand out to you?
Oh yeah, Basket Case especially stands out.
Case,
just a classic B movie. Night of the Living Dead, again, that we mentioned before, still holds up. Still very, very watchable. Just classic stuff. Any of the Full Moon stuff holds up, no matter what it is. Tom Thomason, I think was the big actor in a lot of those. Just great stuff. Great stuff.
Doll Man? Is that what you said?
Doll Man, yeah. He was Doll Man.
I'll be honest, I'm not that familiar with Puppet Master and all that. I do know
before your time.
Full Moon.
That's all.
Yeah, well,
maybe
yes
slightly before. your
yes and no. My mother kept trying to get me to go see horror movies when I was 6, 7. I think my first horror movie was like when I was 9, and it was a Nightmare on Elm Street 5, maybe.
See, somebody mentioned House on Haunted Hill with Vincent Price in it. And there's not a single Vincent Price movie out there I would consider to be a B movie.
Yeah.
That's just me, though. It's like the Hammer films. All the Hammer films were low budget films, but I wouldn't consider any of them to be B movies. They're just classic horror films.
Right.
And again, like with Full Moon, you can't go wrong. Anytime you see a Hammer movie come up, you just sit and watch it. Just great stuff.
Well, that's why I wanted to ask about Grindhouse. Is that Grindhouse horror? Is that really considered B movie, or is that its?
All depends. A lot of them were very, very B movie. If you've never seen the films of Herschel Gordon Lewis, just make sure your kids aren't around. That's all. Because that was all very low budget, very much Grindhouse, very much drive-in movie stuff, but very horrific. A lot of great practical effects in those films. Just enough to, give you the shivers.
Yeah, there's a lot of overlap, I'd say, between B movies and exploitation.
Grindhouse, yeah.
Yeah, Grindhouse.
Well, a lot of them were B movies anyway, because they showed them at the drive-in theaters. So that was the big thing.
Exploitation movies being
Roger Corman.
Yeah, that would be
type material.
Another great exploitation director is Russ Meyer.
Oh yeah,
he's a good example. Herschel Gordon Lewis.
Russ Meyer, though, wasn't he more like European art house films?
Some of his stuff.
Or am I thinking of somebody else? Because they used to show really great, odd Russell Meyer movies late night on Cinemax that were just crazy stuff. Lair of the White Worm, that was Russell Meyer, wasn't it?
No, that was Richard Stanley did Lair of the White Worm. Yeah, Russ Meyer did Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, Faster Pussycat Kill Kill.
Oh, I must be thinking of somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Russ Meyer did a lot of the the sexploitation stuff with giant boobs. Now you know why watch his movies.
Not Flesh Gordon. So
No, I don't think he did that one.
So
Henry.
I'm sure he didn't do it, but that's also a classic B movie. A little
Planet
adult, but fun. Yeah.
Well,
Planet of the Vampires. Yeah.
Myers was all about tits and ass. And JD says, faster pussycat, kill, kill.
Yep.
Yeah. The guy in the chat, Henry Mulder, he's a friend of mine. He does the Dark Corner magazine out of Greenville, South Carolina. I told him about tonight's show, and
yeah, well, okay, so and you said sexploitation, exploitation. You had the blaxploitation films at that point in time, but were blaxploitation films, were those low budget shows, or were those were put on by higher studios, weren't they? Or
I would consider them to be independent films.
Independent,
yeah. Just trying to cash
Brown,
in.
Your
Shaft,
Blackula, Superfly.
Blackula, yeah, Superfly.
Yeah, Larry Cohen did a lot of them. He did Black Caesar was another one with I can't remember the guy's name.
Fred Williamson.
Yeah, Fred Williamson.
Yeah,
I was in what other blaxploitation movies he did? He did
Dolomite.
Yaphet Kotto was in one. Rock. No, not Rock. Hang on.
I first remembered Yaphet Kotto from its James Bond appearance.
Bone was the one I was thinking of.
Bone.
Yeah.
Henry says many blaxploitation films were independent but highly successful. This is true.
They were made independently, and some of them were distributed by the bigger studios.
That's what it was. Okay. Yeah. But I mean, and a lot of those were just filmed on street and everything.
Mm-hmm. Low budget.
Well, it's like kind of like the old martial arts films. Those were, I mean, I guess, I don't know if you really consider them low budget, considering that they're, I guess, would be foreign, more or less.
Well, the Bruce Lee films, always fun, low budget. B movies, probably, yeah. But
that really, outside of setting and everything, did they really need a high budget for those type of films?
No, went outside, or Game of Death was in a large house or whatever. He was crawling from room to room.
Sweetback's badass song. Yeah. That would get into the 70s stuff, huh?
Well, there was a period when all the art house films were low budget. Early porn movies actually had plots, and well,
that's what
some of those are still
production value,
fun watching. Yeah, production. They were gaining production values, and then they cut right back when videotape came out. And everybody just kept forwarding to the good scenes anyway.
Well, isn't that where Wes Craven got his start? Wasn't he doing those kind of soft core artsy art house?
Wes Craven, yeah.
Films.
In the beginning, then he did Last House on the Left, and that completely changed his career. Yeah. Him and Sean Cunningham, who did Friday the 13th.
So Last House on the Left, that would be. Is that low budget? That would be definitely
low budget, technically B movie.
Yeah, I mean, so basically, we're talking about our whole, especially our horror culture, just defined by that low budget movie, that drive.
Look what Evil Dead did to Sam Raimi. Now he's directing Marvel films.
But he's never lost his. He hasn't lost his sensibility for the cheesy and the hokey shots, the close up and the.
He's got his techniques, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, but those techniques, though, they come from those B movies and from those things. Because I'll always remember the Dr. Octopus scene in Spider-Man 2, obviously, but where it just oozed that B movie feel. Where the tentacles come alive and the horror and the silhouettes and the everything, but
In the POV shots of each claw.
Yeah.
Thanks, Henry. He says I'm a brilliant fellow.
Yeah, I don't. That's okay. He's only been watching for a little bit.
Just been around. Yeah. He'll get to know me after a while. That Zim is a dumbass. I can see that coming.
But even when Romero became, he was bigger, but he never really lost that low budget feel either. Not in the sense of quality, because even some of his like maybe was it Land of the Dead, or was it was Land of the Dead?
Yeah,
with the John Leguizamo and everything, he still maintained his sensibilities as an independent filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you look at a Creep Show, that was a major studio project, still has a lot of B-movie type feel to it, which itself, which a lot of the B-movies or the B-movie directors like John Carpenter, stuff like that, were inspired by EC Comics, which, so it's kind of a circle of influence that kind of one influences the other, then it comes back and influences the other.
Right. Well, and then a lot of these guys, that's where they got their start, so they got to move on. Yeah. Doctor Strange 2 is a Sam Raimi film that happens to be set in the Marvel universe. If you haven't seen it yet, you'll definitely see Sam Raimi all over that movie. So, but if you would, you would go ahead and pull up Jake's Indiegogo. Let's talk some more about zombies.
All righty.
And now, of course, now that we're in this new era, we should be able to start seeing a lot more independent films being made with crowdfunding and everything. So that should be exciting to see.
There it is. Bocas versus Night of the Living Dead.
So tell us a little bit about what we got here, Jay.
So, it's a sequel, and I decided to have a little fun with it. I was like, well, you know what? I should mix my love for the genre of zombies and everything like that. And we decided to play around with, Bocas versus Night of the Living Dead, and it pretty much Bocas is a fallen angel, and he's wandering the earth, righting wrongs, one murder at a time. He's a murderous fellow, so I'm having some fun with that. And I actually have quite a few different people popping up. And that Cecil Gardner is going to be in the sequel. If you go to the convention circuit, he cosplays as Rick Grimes from the Walking Dead, and then
cool.
And I got Alex. I'm always butchering this guy's name. Alex Porto from WWE. He's going to be in it, and we got quite a few other people. They're going to pop up. My buddy Chuck Fresh, who does XM radio for Hair Nation. He's going to be in it playing Junior, and we have, and pretty crazy. If I'm talking kind of crazy, guys, I've been awake forever. I work as a school teacher in the morning, so most times I start losing my mind. I'm like, am I still awake or am I sleeping or am I dreaming? So
well, that you've been out there scouting locations. I see you scouting out some of the graveyards around the area. So you did make your goal. Of course, you're more than happy to take some more money.
Oh yeah, I'm always there's just perks there waiting, guys. You want to chip in, help out, man. Because these movies are not cheap, even on a shoestring budget.
Absolutely. And so were you able to get a lot of zombie extras for the?
I got a lot of extras anyway. They didn't contribute nothing. Most of the people are like, I just want to come. Like, just come out. I got a makeup girl who's going to be on hand. I'm gonna give her, pay for her to come out and make up the zombies. We're not gonna make them super gory. We're gonna try to make them kind of like Night of the Living Dead, like the original, kind of like just pasty, kind of ghoulish type of thing, running around. We're having some fun with that, and we're running around with that, and we got the locations for the house and stuff like that. We're gonna do. I was just scooping out for more graveyards because for certain scenes I want to do kind of angles and stuff like that. So you know, it's a continuous process no matter what. Every time I think it is perfect, something else pops in my mind. Like, well, you know, I should go over there and check it out.
So how long does it usually take you to make a movie like this?
So the original book was kind of crazy. When we made the original book, it took about a year because we were doing a lot of weekend shoots. So we were doing like a lot of Saturday and Sunday shoots, and a lot of people, you know, since they were donating their time, were only roughly free right around the weekends. You know, everyone had a 9-to-5 job Monday to Friday. So
right.
It took about a year to make the original book. Zoomed, when I made Zoomed, actually we were completely done with that movie. But what happened was then my computer crashed, and then me like a dummy, I didn't save it on the cloud. So then it was stuck in a computer, on the hard drive, and then so then I had to send my computer out, hoping to retrieve it, and then they told me, oh, it's lost. And
no!
They gave it back to me. I'm like, oh man, I'm going to reshoot this movie. So then a buddy of mine was like, no, let me look at your computer. So he went and looked at it. He said, it's not lost. It's right here on the hard drive. Put up the hard drive, and he gave it to me. So we were able to finally release that. So Zoom only happened. We took for Zoom. We filmed that online for over 3-4 days, but it just took longer because of the whole computer issue.
Right.
But this book as sequel, I think it's gonna take maybe roughly about 3 to 4 months to make. Because I simplified the place where we're going to be at. I already got most of the locations, except for the few graveyard scenes I want to do for B-roll and for other things like that. But the original book, I was like, we were filming all over Brevard County. I was like, there was a place called the Compound out in Palm Bay. If you ever come up to Space Coast over here in Melbourne, Brevard County, there's a place called a Compound, and the whole place is kind of like there was a land developer who built all these streets, miles upon acres, something like 30 miles of these streets. And then he took off with the money and fled to South America and left his property just sitting there.
Oh, man.
Void. So when you go there, you see nothing but streets everywhere, all gridded out, but trees growing everywhere. And you're like, what the hell? This is like an apocalyptic scene. You know, what happened to the houses? So
right.
So we were able to film the original book out there. So we were filming that for months out there, and it was sweltering because if you look in the original book, I'm wearing this leather coat that must have weighed about an extra 30-40 pounds, and I will wear it. I'm like, let me take it off. There's like we have behind the scenes stuff where I'm like stripping down my clothes, just laying in the car, like, please cool me down. I'm dying out here.
That, and you're in all black, so I can only imagine that he's just adding to that. Hey, Randy, there's the trailer for the first Bocas he has on here, which is really awesome. You put the movie on here for people to watch.
Yeah.
One of the best lines, I think, was even though it's the apocalypse, you still need tacos, or you still get tacos? Nino's
tacos. Even in the apocalypse, you still need tacos.
You want to run the trailer for the first Bocas movie?
This is for the first Bocas movie.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mama Bocas.
Oh man!
Oh man!
Dude, don't get up, man! Don't get up!
Is this for the documentary thing that you wanted to do?
Yeah, I thought you were ready, bro.
Oh, okay. Give me a second here. Let me get ready. All right.
Dude, can you courtesy flows?
My name is Bocas, and I star in this film. Okay. In this film, we have tits, we have ass.
Wait.
Okay, my mistake, my bad. That's for the sequel. There's no tits, there's no ass. All there is blood, mayhem, and murder. Starring me, my friend Junior, and a bunch of other guys. And if I have to get off this damn toilet, don't get up. But if I have to get off this toilet, I'm gonna hurt you. And I don't want that someone to be you out there, baby. If it has to be you, it's gonna be fucking death and murder here. So please, guys, come watch Bocas or else. Now, do you mind? Can't let my ass down.
And all you need to do is call his name. Bocas.
Zombies. Fuck off or I'll kill you. I can't drink for my men, and I need the blood to survive. So I have protection, and I need you for sustenance. Holy shit, you're a fucking vampire! Yes! Yeah!
Oh my shit, that feels so good.
So where did you get the name Bocas from? I'm curious because the sister's name is Lilith. I kind of got that idea of where that name came from.
So Bocas, as you know, like boca in Spanish means mouth, and then I was like playing on it years ago. Bocas, like most people, they curse you using their mouth, So I was kind of like a curse, Bocas. You invoke,
okay, cool.
You invoke that, and then on top of that, I just figured it just sounded like an interesting name, It was just the dude's name, kind of a curse, Bocas, So it was just something I was playing with years ago when I was creating a character, a fallen angel, that's literally a curse people call for, invoke, and he just appears larger than life and just smashes you to death and then just wanders away.
Pretty much you end up running into him.
Yeah.
But so I was telling these guys also when we were talking about who we're having on tonight about your other channel, your YouTube channel. Are you still doing that with the paranormal?
Yeah, we haven't filmed an episode in about a year, but me and Chuck are still talking about going back out and doing more episodes for that. The Underpresence. It's just that we, COVID happened and then we just went in opposite directions doing different stuff, and we just got to find a time to get together and come up with a few locations we want to film. And then, it's just so hard these days to get places, especially where we live here in Brevard County, where they like these are places that you look up and you find out they're haunted, and you're like, hey, I want to check out the place. And they're like, no, we don't do that kind of stuff. We want to preserve the history of our building. We're scared of people coming to our places and looking for ghosts. I was like, what? They'll bring you money. People will come and pay you to go.
Shoot, here we thrive on that kind of thing. We have about, I don't know, maybe 10 miles from here, the Myrtles Plantation, which is big for the horror thing. They have no problem with you coming there looking for ghosts.
Yeah.
You got to pay, but you got no problem for you coming to look.
Yeah, over here they're kind of weird about that. They just want the opposite direction. They want to be really artsy, kind of, laid back type of, Pablo Picasso town now.
Right. Well,
it works for them.
But the way you were doing it was kind of interesting because the paranormal stuff was real, but y'all were kind of adding like a scripted drama.
Yeah, we're acting like idiots in the middle of the thing. Created characters. I was playing a character called Victor, and he was playing a character called Father Jesus, and we would go back and forth bicker. But meanwhile, all the investigations were real. We were getting, real data where you would hear voices saying stuff, and it was interesting. It was pretty cool. All the investigations were legit.
Cool. But yeah, see, and there you go. That's kind of that's still in that not, I won't say B movie, but it's that creativity on a low budget.
Yeah.
Thing, Yeah. But now just think about it, guys. What Clerks would be considered a B movie, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, so at this point in time, what do you say? Like, okay, Clerks is an independent film on a low budget. So when do we draw the line on what's being an independent film and what's being a B movie? Is there really one, or do they kind of coexist in the same?
I think a lot of that might be subjective on the person. Like me, I consider a B movie something that was made, kind of like the classic definition, something that was made outside of the studio format that could have been like bought by the studio later on for distribution, but like I'm halfway drunk, so sorry.
When you talk about Kevin Smith, I think everything he's done, except for maybe Dogma, I would consider to be a B movie. That's my personal opinion. Mallrats maybe might have had a little bit stronger budget, but it still has that independent B movie feel to it.
Well, most everybody that was in Mallrats, except for of course you had Stan Lee, but was pretty much an unknown when they did that anyway.
That's true.
So it was one of the London.
Chasing Amy, I think, is also an exception. I think Chasing Amy was a good quality film. I mean, I would consider that to be an A-list movie.
I think that was probably his. I wouldn't say his rise to the top, but that would be the one that kind of broke him from being an independent filmmaker into being
Chasing Amy and Dogma are right up there, and then right after. So it's just me.
Well, yeah. Anyway, so Jake, tell us where we can find you. If people wanted, we could go to Indiegogo. You have a Facebook.
Yeah, you can find me. You can type in my name, Jake Estrada. You'll see my face there. You'll see I have some promotion for book that's going on my banner on my Facebook page. You can find me on Instagram too. Type in Jake Estrada. You'll find me there. You can type my name in Google and you'll find Jake Estrada book. You type something like that in there. You'll find me. You'll find my IMDb page. You'll find any info you need about me these days. You'll find me there. You'll find my stalkers there.
There you go. So if you want to stalk Jake, go check out his Facebook page. There you go. So is there any plans on making this a trilogy, or?
But yeah, I actually have another script in play where I want to take Bocas further. I want to make it like a Bocas prison film. He wakes up, he's in prison, some kind of futuristic prison.
Cool.
But like I've told other people, if I ever make that one, I have to hit the gym for like 6 months straight, just work out and just come out and be able to ripple my shirt and be like, I'm sexy, baby. Yeah.
Maybe we get in that long line all the way down to Bocas 10, Bocas in space. That kind of
Bocas in space. That'd work.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome, man. So, Mitch, tell them where we can find you, sir.
Well, right here, Linktree Celtic Cross Studios. You can find my website, my online comics, and coming up a T-shirt store and other merch. I'm working on that.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I should probably do something like that.
Merch.
Yeah,
you probably should.
It's like I gotta have energy to do that kind of thing. All right, Randy, tell them where we can find you, sir.
Or you can find me on Facebook all you want, or you can contact me right there at the zimcast@gmail.com. You can find me tomorrow night on the Zimcast. Maybe C will be there. Maybe Stone will reappear. We don't know where Stone is. He's probably floating above us as we speak. Probably up on some satellite or space station somewhere. The Zimcast tomorrow night, 9 p.m. over at the RAGIN 2 here on the RAGIN 2 network. Then Sunday mornings, you'll also find me at 9 a.m. doing the Sunday Funnies, where we talk about the lighter side, more whimsical side of comics, those great comics that you love. And we talk about our passion. We try to be up and positive so early on a Sunday morning. So check and see who's available Sunday morning. Check out the Sunday Funnies, 9 a.m. on RAGIN 2 network. And then we'll probably be back here next Tuesday.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me in my link tree, C Michael Lanning, but I also want to kind of throw this up here real quick. And of course, we have various shows for to whet your appetite. We have dispatches right here on Tuesdays. Of course, we have the vlogs on Monday and Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern. We have Daphne Lage's Art Eagle Works Art live stream on Wednesday. It'll be tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern. And of course, Zimcast later on that night. Then Thursday morning, we've got Nerd Bacon with Luke Stone and Nick Tucker. If I could, I would blow up their chats, their comments too. Then, of course, we have Mike, Jimmy, and Marv V on Sketchy Saturday. I have no idea who they're going to have on there, but hopefully some good art. Then we have Saturday, I can't remember if it's like every other Saturday or the second Saturday of the month.
Is it the last Saturday of every month?
Is it the last Saturday? What is it? Last Saturday of the month is House of Bob with Daphne. That's your nightly furry.
Very not safe for work.
Yeah. And of course, Sunday Funnies.
There may be titties.
There's a lot more than that. Anyway,
drawn first.
And of course, JD Calderon's Talking Comics on a Sunday, where he takes on a panel and has some people ask some questions. Sometimes I get to ask some questions. Sometimes I get to answer. So does Randy. So
I should be there this Sunday.
Awesome. All right.
And then I should also note tomorrow night we're going to have the great JD Rosario on from Unstoppable Comics, talking about his latest campaign, Storm Chasers.
Yes, don't tell him about the mail carrier thing I said to him.
Oh, he's probably already knows.
That's it. He's going to be
Ears
mad
have
at
been
me.
burning ever since you mentioned it. No, he knows there's all kinds of postmen. So
that's right. They're all kinds. So anyway,
all right. Your local guy likes to take your comics and fold them in half and shove them into your mail.
If it was only comics, they would do that with. Not even just that. Anyway, so we're going to next week, dispatches, 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be talking about aliens. We're going to be talking about UFOs. We're going to be talking about space invaders, Invader Zims. We're going to be talking about.
We'll try not to mention Mac and me.
No. We'll probably mention it as a good example of a bad example. So,
yeah.
I'm going to leave you with our word for the week, and everybody have a good evening.
What is the word for the week?
It's a nice trailer from an old movie.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. Santa sets up a fantastic automatic toy factory on Mars. The Martian leader battles the wicked Voldar in a desperate effort to save Santa, the wise man of Mars. 900 years old. The Battle of the Toys, when Martian kids and Earth kids join Santa to battle the bad guys of Mars. For real space-age fun, you'll be out of this world when Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.